Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to BTWN, which has been probably about 5 or 6 months worth of nothing, just due to total complacency from me and from Kurt and from computers and from Google Hangouts is one of the things we use being absolutely useless up till the end of April. So until such a time, we're going to roll like this, and hopefully it'll go well. Now, I did mention on Twitter, and I also mentioned on Instagram and Facebook on our groups that we used to do the BTWN vidcast. Now it's going to be 4. So we're going to have BTW and vidcast, bring them back to Dark History because I used to love Dark History, and so does Kurt because it's twisted. Mysteries and murders.
And I'll throw in Underground Science too should be back. Also, so we got 5, 6.
5? Okay, no. We'll go with 5. We'll go. Even I can't count.
I can't count. I apologize.
No,
I'm American.
I'm sitting there like that. Come on, you're not the American. You're not the one who can't count. Can't count past Trump. So, anywho, yeah. So there's going to be 5 shows effectively that we're running, which is going to be the vidcast, which is the paranormal side of things, the Dark History, which is what tonight's show's about. It's about the little bits of Dark History that you find. We're going to have the mystery show, which is just because there's enough of it to look at, and it's something we've always been into. And finally, we're going to have the murders, and some of the murders, to be fair, are going to be either local to me or one from Britain, one from America, and we'll just pit off at each other to see which one of them's either the worst or just because whichever one's the most gruesome, I'll go with. And then we've got Underground Science, which will be back very soon with Lynette. Can't wait for that one. As soon as that's back up and running, I'm so happy. So, anywho, Kate, what have you been up to?
Basically the same thing you've been up to. Not a whole lot. Just trying to wonder when we're getting back on air and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've been doing actually a lot more testing of gear than I actually have been going out and investigating. I mean, everything from the Rico 360 to the FLIR 1 second generation, which you can see that on our site on YouTube. BTWN Paranormal, and you can check it out. It's pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to test out next with the Apple II. I'm going to connect it to the Apple II to see what kind of what kind of picture I get on it. I think it would be better on the Apple II because it's a bigger screen, and that plus I could record it too, and I could also send it across seas for you to have a look at it and stuff like that. Nothing really, basically. I think just not a lot. It's just, between both of us, I don't know. It's just, we haven't, we needed to take a break, It was like one of those time to take a break kind of things. And, that's basically it. How you been, man?
I'm going to be the first person to admit this. It's a sad and horrible thing to say, to be fair, and I don't mean this in a bad way. But sometimes when you deal with paranormal, you deal with the paranormal shows week after week after week, you look at the same things. You start to notice the same report, same story, same everything over and over again. That little bit of a break, it gave me time to sit back and look and think. Some of the best shows or some of the best things we ever done. We done a show once a few years ago on Victorian seances, and that show, I'll never forget it. It started off talking about seances and how people used to go to the seances and the cotton coming from the mouth to look like ectoplasm. To the show literally went all the way through to why Harry Houdini was murdered. And that was one show. That was a tangent that it took, which is absolutely amazing. It was a bit of a wild one, but it went all the way from point A to point B really quickly. I was kind of happy with that. And I think that's sort of not our roots, but that's just one of the things that we like doing. So that's where I'm happy going towards. Back to what I've been up to. Okay, right. Well,
okay.
My nephew, he sometimes watches the show, Lewis. He's a really good dude. He's into photography and he's doing photography in school. So I've been going out with them every once in a while and just getting a chance to go out and take photographs and just do what I used to do with regards to photography and videography as well. I've been loving playing with video at the moment. By the time this has been released, there'll be a video on our channel. The video is about Michael Hastings. Michael Hastings is a man who was killed in 2013 in a car crash. The car crash resulted in him I think he was meant to be doing about 140 mile an hour or something excessive. He clipped a tree, or when I say clipped a tree, hit it head on. The engine out the car flew 150 foot behind him. Gets weirder, right? He'd not a day earlier or a few hours earlier messaged his friend saying he believed that the FBI were investigating them and he needed to go off radar because he had a piece of information or he had something on somebody in the CIA apparently. Well, your government, being UK, has just been hacked. There's something that came out called, oh my god, I've just been doing this, about what? Draft 7, which is the full, it's a WikiLeaks. And because of that WikiLeaks, it's telling about remote car hacking, being able to hack a car's...
Well, I don't mean to interrupt, but that's interesting you brought that up, because they were talking about hacking phones, and we have the ability to hack phones and hack smart TVs. My wife told me the story about a friend of hers who, him and his wife were watching TV, and all of a sudden, a camera light came on up top. And they covered it with black electrical tape. But they said it was the weirdest thing in the world. With the ability to do that. Yeah,
but the thing is, with the way that the car hacking, people are saying it's not, well, not a lot of people have got a credibility in it. Being able to control the acceleration and the braking of a car and the deployment of an airbag at any time you want to. That they're actually calling it a quiet assassin. Basically, if you wanted to take somebody out, that's how you would do it. The government, the American government, have came forward, or people have came forward and said they've been able to hack pretty much anything that's hackable on a network.
Well, think about this though, and I know we're way off topic from what we're going to be doing tonight. Like Trump has brought up that they were setting up microphones, listening to Trump in Trump Tower. That Obama was. It's so funny. Trump is such what a cow. Yeah, and I hope he hears it too. I got freedom of speech, except I didn't even slander him.
What's with the black helicopters outside your apartment, by the way?
No, that's a bird. It's an African lovebird. It's like the world's smallest parrot, and it just jumps. It hates me. It just hates me. And I like it. I mean, I truly like it. It's an obnoxious bird, and I hope it pisses my neighbors off. Who upstairs they have like clump feet, like they have I guess they don't have arches on their feet, so it's like clump feet. So I get this thing all riled up so you can hear it all the way outside. Or if I'm going to get my mail on the first floor, I can hear it going crazy. So I purposely set it off. So, okay, what were we talking about? Momento mori. We're going to be talking about basically the Victorian death trick. All right, that's basically what it is right there. Basically what we're doing is, as Mo noted earlier in the show, that we are going to be doing different sorts of topics. Tonight, dark history. We're going to be talking a lot about, the Victorian era, which is one of the creepiest eras, I think, that is known. And we can blame Queen Victoria for that, who actually, and I won't blame her, actually, the Queen.
No, you're welcome to. I'm going to say there's a quick little anecdote about Liverpool, right? There's a statue of Queen Victoria right outside our court in Liverpool city centre. It's probably 3 miles away from me, okay? Her name is Vic with a Dick. And for those people who don't know why she's called Vic with a Dick, check it out.
Check out Vic with the Dick. That's exactly what... Vic with the Dick.
I'm dropping a picture right there, because there's a picture, right? If you get the right angle, it looks like she's holding the knob and having a wee. It's just fun.
Vic with a Dick.
So, yeah.
Yeah, well, basically, the Victorian era was one of the darkest eras, I think, in modern times. I mean, you're talking about from around 1830s, maybe 1840s to about 1901, and during that time period, death was rampant. Whether it was smallpox, whether it was children dying in record numbers,
Yeah.
whether it was pictures of dead people standing up trying to look alive. I've seen pictures of this one girl, and what they did is they painted eyeballs on her eyelids, and I thought that was kind of creepy as hell. But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, and people were thrown also into we're talking about almshouses or poorhouses in record numbers because of supposed insanity and all the above. I mean, you could just look this up online and just find out how dark things really were, and how insane things really were during the Victorian era. It was not a pleasant time to live. And let's say, let me give you an example. Let's say Mo passes away. God forbid Mo passes away.
God forbid, it's going to happen.
Ate too much fish and chips. He choked on some fish and chips. Okay. Natalie has about pot noodles. Actually, Natalie has up between, in America it was about a year. In Great Britain it was about 2 years to mourn. So you got about 2 years of mourning that she could do, in place of that. I mean, it's unbelievable once you get going on the insanity of it. I mean, that's all I gotta say. What's your take on that?
It's not the fact that people die, no matter where you are, no matter what goes on. People die. I'll die. You'll die. Everybody's gonna die. My dog's gonna die. Your budgie, birdie, tweety pie thing, it's gonna die. And it's how it's treated. It's how we treat death now as opposed to the way death was 100 years ago, 200 years ago. To give you an idea and an example of what I mean, if you look back 100 years ago to where, say for instance, Momento Mori pictures turned up, they were propping people up with planks of wood. They were putting them in place, they were standing them up, all the family will stand together, big smile on your face, there you are, standing next to the carcass of your brother, or the carcass of your wife, the dead body, the cadaver, no matter what you want to call it, that's what it was. I remember we went to York about 2 years ago, me and Natalie. It was in November. We tend to go there quite a lot in the winter. It's just a really nice place. It's a different world. There's an influence of history there, a massive influence of past. And when you go there and you're speaking to the people and you go for the walks and you listen to the way it was, death in places like that, it was treated differently to what it is now. So even there, the stories you're getting told, and again, the stories that you get told about the Victorian times is people will get buried too shallow, for instance. The people weren't treated with the respect that they're treated with as much today by people. There's again a cemetery by us that had to be, the entire cemetery had to be exhumed and moved because the bodies were buried too low. The ground started to sink, the smell started to rise, and people in the local area started complaining about the smell. Bodies were never treated as they were treated differently. I'm never going to say they were treated really bad. They were just treated differently. They were treated as something different. And again, when I look, I've seen some of the Memento Mori pictures I've seen and some of the stories I've heard. I heard a podcast actually about a year ago again from a brilliant podcast called The Stuff You Missed in History Class by I think it's by wikihow.com or something like that. And there's two girls who were talking about Memento Mori, and you can hear that one of the stories is they pulled up an interview of the guy who wrote the book about Wisconsin Death Trip. And the story, not the story, but the anecdotal tale he told was, here is a picture of a horse. And it had a massive, massive long mane. Here's another picture of a horse. Look at the way the curvature is on its back. Here's a closer picture of that horse. Look at the curvature on its back. Here's a picture of a baby in a coffin, or a child in a coffin. Here's a picture of a mother holding a baby, looking at the baby with love. Here's a picture of the mum sitting on a horse. Here's another picture of the baby in a coffin with somebody else. And you listen to how it was just injected into the group of pictures, and you can see they were family pictures. from what I can tell, they were treated unequivocally. They were treated differently. You would take photographs of a corpse. I'd never, in my right mind, when my grandfather passed away, for instance, I would never have took a camera in and gone, "Bye, Grandad. Do you mind if I just get a selfie?" That's just bad. But in the same breath,
what's interesting about that is when my grandfather died on my mom's side, on my dad's side, my grandmother actually took pictures of him in his coffin. And I thought that was kind of bizarre at the time. But then I got to thinking about it. And I'm like, well, they've been married for like 60 some odd years. You know what I mean? That's the last she's ever going to see his face. You know, and I thought that, then I kind of backed off on it because, you know, because you go back to the times you're talking about in the Victorian era, death was looked at so different than it is today. I mean, people died today, everybody freaks out, but back then it was natural. Let's say you have 10 kids, because that was very popular on a lot of farms in this area. Well, let's say 3 of those 10 kids died. That's looked as normal. You know, it's sad. I mean, it's depressing, but it's normal. You know, that you have so many kids, because you don't know how many kids are actually going to survive. You know, once they're born, more than likely they'll die. I mean, whether it's a day old, whether it's premature, you know, they die. And like you were saying, it's looked at much different than it is.
Is it food for thought? Is it food for thought, though, that maybe how people treated the mortality rate of births? Say, for instance, a low amount of, well, not a low, but a lesser amount of children survived birth than they do right now. Is it fair to say that people would treat children differently when they were born due to that? Maybe, as an opinion.
As an opinion, treat them differently in what sense? Negative, positive?
As in, they're not. It sounds horrible to say, and God forbid, touch wood, anybody ever did.
Just say it, dude. Just say it. I mean, it's a true topic. I mean,
is it? Could they have looked at it differently? As in, you know, a child passes away. Okay, the baby or the child's passed away. Let's move on to the next child, or let's pay more attention.
No. That's true. No. You're right on that. I think you hit the nail on the head on that, actually.
Now, my story falls into that category, which I'll explain very shortly. But we'll keep on this topic for a bit.
But like I was saying, where I work at, also at this, I work at a museum, a house museum. The guy who built it got married. His wife died. Then his son died 6 months later. Then he had to remarry again. Had 2 children. One was a day old when he died. I've seen his tombstone, and then there was another. He had a daughter who died at 4 years, 6 months, and then he had 3 daughters that lived to adulthood. But you know, it's like you keep going and going and trying until you can get it. You know, until you can have that healthy baby. But the thing about it is, a lot of people just didn't have that. You know, it's just bad luck. I mean, just think about the sickness that goes around. I mean, everything from consumption, which consumption for some of you guys might not know is tuberculosis, or it could have been typhoid, or it could have been something of the sort that kills them at such a young age. I mean, it's to me living in the 21st century, it's not supposed to happen with the modern medicine that we have now. But if you go back in time and you're on a farm and your closest doctor is 2 miles away, you're out of luck. I mean, it's a bummer. Go ahead with your story. That story was so interesting.
Well, just one more thing before we do go on to that. That makes me, what you've just said there with being a doctor, doctors being so far away, and the way we actually, as a society right now, we literally rely on medicine. Plain and simple. We rely on medicine. Everything about what we do is some form of something to consume, something to help us. We eat food, we pick foods that are better for us, we eat healthier because it's healthy, we cut down on the certain amount of drinks, trying our hardest to stay healthy for as long as possible. We're sort of grasping onto mortality more now than back then.
I think you're right. As I'm holding up my 2 Mountain Dew cans, my vape,
I don't know. I haven't got a clue what you're talking about, by the way.
As you're drinking your coffee right there.
Right. Okay. So let's segue off onto something totally different. Now, this story is a story I sprung on Kurt, sorry, about an hour ago, 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
Right, and I kind of glad I did because it's a fresh set of eyes to a story. Now, I researched this in 2010 or 2011, and what I do when I get bored, I literally I'll research like mad on something, and then I'll never use it. I do the same with video. I'll film a lot, and I'll never use it. I've got loads of time lapse video that I've never used. That's me. So what I do is I've always got this stock of stories and things I've researched. Now, this story, the only reason I researched this story is because I used to have a friend who lived in the street, and I thought I need to. The street is literally 6 streets that way. I need to have a little look more into this story. It was an old folklorish tale from the area. I looked into it, and this is what I managed to drag up about it. Now, imagine the scene: the police come knocking at your door, being unaware of any wrongdoing. You open the door; they're not there for you. They want to speak to your mum. So you shout for your mum, only to find out that she is fully aware of why they are there. They're there for the babies, the ones you never knew, the brothers and sisters that you never knew. How would you feel? How would you want them? Oh, sorry. How would you want to know them? You never will. They weren't here for long. That is definitely a tale of an all-American family with a sinister Stephen King twist to it, not a story of a family that lived in Sutton Street, Tuebrook, Liverpool in June 1876. But now you have all guessed there's more of the story to tell. God, I was very, very Edgar Allan Poe-ish with this one. It was kind of weird. So anyway, Elizabeth Kilbride, who was previously a schoolmistress she was I always get tongue twisted. Elizabeth Kilbride, who was previously a schoolmistress in a Penrith school, when for some reason or other she decided to move to Liverpool to Sutton Street, and the following February she went back home to Penrith and left a tin box at the inn where she stayed mistakenly. Now, I was 100%, never 100% on whether she'd done it by accident or whether it was on purpose, but however, the box started to smell, so when they opened it to investigate the contents, if there was ever something you would ever regret doing, it was that there was 2 babies in one tin box. Elizabeth Kilbride was tracked down and arrested at her home and taken to a nearby police station in Old Swan, awaiting transport back to Cumbria. The situation became worse when one of the sons noticed a foul smell coming from her room, and again, a tin box was opened to reveal a further 3 babies, one of which had been in a tin box for an estimated 10 years. Further search by the police found letters indicating that she had an accomplice, one of the children's fathers, who was a married businessman who clearly didn't want to be known. A 6th body was found to be buried in the previous address of Elizabeth. For the 3 little souls' bodies were interred in Anfield Cemetery in the same coffin. At the time, forensic science was so primitive, and maybe today's technology with the police, they might have came to a different conclusion. Justice Mansley reportedly said that she had acted as a mother so inhuman that the case is without parallel, in a manner which no humane person, still less a mother of her own offspring, would have acted. Justice Mansley, considering whether she should have in fact been charged with the murder's little soul, he commented, only the difficulties, technical more than substantial, arising from the points of law and the rules of evidence, which rendered the conviction of murder improbable, had prevented him from trying her on a capital charge. He had not a slightest doubt that in 5 of the 6 cases she'd reported violence. She pleaded guilty to 3 counts of concealment of birth and was sentenced to 27 months hard labour for what she'd done. Okay? Now, the final part of this story, because there was more I found out about this that I never put into that, right? Even though she was given 27 months hard labour, even though in at least one of the cases with one of the children had the ligature tied around its neck, she apparently choked the kids. Right? They found one of her cases. Apparently, they found one of her cases in the train station as well. This woman was uber sick and twisted. Don't know why she done it. Couldn't give you an answer.
I have an idea.
She's a bitch.
Yeah, that too, but they spelled Penrith wrong on the second Penrith. They put 2 H's. So I figure that has something to do with the conspiracy that's going on right here.
I wrote that.
Okay. I just want to double check.
Yeah, yeah.
That's fine.
Thanks. Yeah, just give me a second. Let me just go and change it. Shut up. So yeah. Well, anyway, right. Also, as well, on the other side of town to where I live, there was a woman who gave birth, and she was working in a workhouse. It was around the same time, and she actually buried her child alive in a garden. And it was only for a gardener walking past and heard a noise in the bushes. When he went to investigate, he found the baby on the floor with soil packed into its mouth. It's, again, I don't know if it's Victorian mentality, not mentality, but what you would resort to do.
That's what you find in the Victorian era. I mean, we've discussed the lady, and I forget her name. I totally apologize to people watching this. Who this was off of the show Victorian Death Trip. I forget her name. She'd go around certain parts of the country breaking windows. And so Mo and I kind of smiled and said, "Yep, she's our mentor for brick and ladder, dude. She's
like the Morpheus of brick and ladder."
Yeah, we're just followers of hers. That's it. We're just straight followers of her, no more, no less. So she showed us how to properly break windows, get inside. But true story about this lady. She was a teacher, and she went nuts. And she just started traveling around the Midwest, breaking windows. She'd take rocks to windows just out of spite, for no reason, just breaking windows.
Oh, dude, some people are just absolutely amazing. There's a local man to us. We haven't seen him in a while, and I think the story goes he got hit by a car, and he's crossing the road. The car took him out, and I think he sustained a brain injury or some form of brain damage. But what he used to do was he used to stand on the central reservation and wave at cars, and the cars would beat back at him. It's just a nice thing to do. People used to just do it, and he's actually, you can Google him, and his name is Tony Beep Beep, if I'm right in believing. If you Google this guy, it'll show you him. He just sort of stands there and lets on, and people will beep at him. We used to do it all the time. Everybody did. He's just got respect for the guy, you know. I felt bad for him. But yeah, total wild tangent.
Tony Beep.
Tony Beep Beep.
Beep. Let me see. Tony Beep Beep. Would this be Tony Beep Beep right here?
Let me have a little look right there. Show me again.
Tony Beep Beep. It's Tony Beep Beep.
Yes, that's Tony Beep Beep. That's
okay.
Tony Beep Beep.
Tony Beep Beep looks like he'd be an alright guy.
What? He's amazing. He's got his own Facebook group.
He's a legend, dude.
Yeah, he is. People of all, even people coming out of town, they come into Liverpool, they'll see him. Sort of just, everyone beeps him. He's just cool. He's a nice guy.
I just want to come and shake his hand. Get a picture of Tony Beep Beep in the middle of like this, in the middle of everything to see if anybody would do it.
Whatever you do, don't Google purple Aki. That's all I'm saying. So, right, guys, for everybody, thank you very much for watching. Thanks very much for paying attention to our useless drivel for the past half hour or so. And next week, just to give us a shout on what's going to be happening next week, we're going to be doing a show on the Toynbee tiles. I'm not even going to ruin it for people. You'll like it. See you later, guys.
Peace. Bye.